Tell you what, it has gone from like famine to flood. Yeah, after last week and just having to scrape and scrounge to find anything of note to go on the game shelf, this week has just been, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put it all. Hey guys, what's happening? Jamie here, and welcome to another episode of the game hunting vlog here on Sidescrollin. It's Monday morning here at the moment. Another, as you can probably see behind me, beautiful sunny day in Australia. I was literally in like t-shirt and shorts a few days ago, and now suddenly it's decided that it's autumn. So we're in the rain, in the raincoat. We're walking the pup, a little fuzz bucket. Feral today. She's absolutely feral. Always is in this weather. I don't know what it is. This week, what have we got coming up this week? So I am flat out this week. That's right. It's a massive week here for me work-wise. I've got Supernova coming up very, very soon. So I'm in full preparation for the convention. So I don't like my chances of actually getting out and about too much this week, unfortunately. I think we're going to be leaning pretty heavily on eBay this week, which is fine. I'm watching a lot of things like a hawk on there. I'm determined to have a good week this week on the hunt after last week's, you know, not terrible, but certainly it was very hard going last week, and I'm very much determined to make sure that this week we actually get some good picks in. So yeah, watching a lot of stuff on eBay, combing through there. With a little bit of luck, I will be able to get out and about at some point this week, but you know, we'll see how it goes. That's life sometimes. But yeah, I'm going to go and get this dog. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? Come on. I'm going to get this dog walked and hopefully calm. And I'm going to go home and get out of the rain, have a cup of tea, and get stuck into some prep. So yeah, let's go and see what the week brings. No, you can't chase them. Look at this, runners and jeans. We're rocking the old man look today, aren't we? All right, it is Monday afternoon. I've just gotten back into town after giving my buddy Gary a lift into town. He lives about half an hour outside of town, so I had to go and pick him up and bring him back in. And while I'm on my way home, I'm just stopping and having a very sneaky quick look in a lifeline that we've got here that's just down the road from my house. I don't have very high hopes of there being any games in here, but they do have, as far as I know, we had a book fair here in town recently, and all of the books and, more importantly, the DVDs that were left over from that book fair got moved to this lifeline. So they're all in there in rows and rows and rows of boxes. So I'm going to go and have a quick peruse through the DVD section. Sometimes, you know, you're throwing things in a box in a secondhand store. There's not a lot of difference in appearance if you don't know what you're looking at between a game case and a DVD case. So you never know. We might turn up something that's accidentally snuck its way into all the DVDs. We might even find a couple of anime discs in there somewhere. Who knows? So I'm going to very quickly go in here and have a look, and we'll see if we find anything of import. Let's check it out. All right. Well, not a whole lot of luck in there, unfortunately. I was talking to the lady. They had a couple of games in the cabinet when I walked in, and I talked to her and I said, "Oh, do you get many of these coming through?" And she said, "Oh, we're not going to be because we're closing down." I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess not then." So you saw I did grab. This is uncanny. I was literally just talking about this with my daughter the other day. I grabbed Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within for $1. We were like, no joke, just started talking about this because she started playing Final Fantasy VII Remake recently, and we watched Advent Children together, and she said, "Oh, is there any other Final Fantasy movies?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, there's one before Advent Children that had nothing to do with any of the games that came out when I was in high school." She's like, "Oh, can we watch it?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll see if I can track it down." $1. There it was. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? Unreal. My house is tapped. And I picked up one other thing out of the game cabinet. If you paid attention to the footage, you can probably guess which one it is, but I'll show you that at the end of the week. But right now I'm going to get home out of this rain. I still haven't had that cup of tea that I was talking about this morning, so I'm going to go and do that. And that is not what you want to see when you get home and see an eBay buy sitting on your front doorstep. Hopefully that's okay. Thank you. You know what you got to do? Good girl. Finally. Yes, it is Monday evening here, and I was just having a little think as I was sitting and looking at the games that we've got so far, as we've been talking about a nostalgia shelf. And I don't have a shelf per se. We're going to need a space to put all these things as they start to stack up and accumulate here. So I've just moved into my game room now, which I'm going to show you, and see if I can figure out what to do about the shelving situation in here and the storage situation in here, to see if we can make a spot and a home for the shelf of memories, if you will. So here, let's have a look at what we're dealing with. All right, so this is my game room. Now, as you can see, it's all board gaming related at the moment. There are games all over the place. I have a shelf here that is role-playing games and wargaming. There you go. I've got games currently scattered all over the floor because they're ones that I've picked out that are going to be sold on, that don't really get used anymore. But yeah, so this is the state of things. You can see it's only a very tiny little space. The problem I've really got in here, and it's also, you know, it pulls, well, I mean, the problem I've got in here is that it pulls double duty as so many other things. So it's a board game room slash art room slash storage room slash wargaming room slash I don't know where to put this thing so it goes in here room. You can see I've got a shelf of art supplies in the corner over here. There's boxes for work. There's a whole corner of crap that's convention setup. That's going to get pulled out and sorted very, very shortly. But this table here is really the problem. It's like a 6.5 foot table, which is perfect for wargaming and Warhammer. But it's not very conducive to a tiny little space. As you can see, like the amount of room between like table and wall on each side is problematic. So it's very cramped in here. So this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of just me stream of conscious talking to the camera here while I try and figure out what to do. What I'm thinking is we're going to use this shelf here. I'm thinking now that I've picked out the board games that I want to move on, that we might repurpose this shelf as the video game nostalgia shelf, and I'll try and condense all of this stuff that I've got sitting here and try and redistribute it across the rest of the board gaming shelves. You know, we don't need boxes front facing like this. There's another one here. There's a big gap down there that I can fill in. Some of these little games that don't get played very often could, you know, really get pushed back and doubled up, I think. I'd like to have some room on top to put figures and whatnot. You know, display boxes that are, you know, a little bit more special, give them a little bit more prominence. But that's the thinking at the moment. I'd like to really, if I can, just thinking about it, what I'd like to do is get a second one of these shelves and put it here. And so we can have a double gaming shelf. If I do that though, the problem is this table, because then if I put another shelf here, it's going to stick out too far to really be able to access. Not that I need to access this part of the room very often at all, but you know, it's going to cut that off entirely. So that might be, you know, maybe across that bridge when we get to it kind of problem. For now, I need to find a home for our purchases so far, because they've kind of just been sitting here on the table, piling up, and they're going to continue to pile up until I do something about it. So I might get stuck in and see if I can at least, as a step one, clear some space off this shelf, rehome these games into their sibling shelves, and make a space there. I mean, I'd love to get a bigger bookcase. I mean, these are Billy bookcases, Billy bookshelves from IKEA, but as you can see, this room has a slope to the roof, and this does not fit. It does not fit. That's as far as that goes. It cannot fit any further down there. So these are just cheap, dirt cheap, pretty crappy quality little Kmart bookshelves, but they do the job, and they fit, more importantly. And it also means because they're just dirt cheap little Kmart bookshelves, I can get more of them when needed, which is also good. They're not like, you know, a couple of $100 worth like the Billy is. So, you know, video games cases, they're not very heavy, so I'm not worried about, you know, they're certainly going to be a lot lighter than the amount of cardboard that's currently holding. So I'm not too worried about the shelf bowing or toppling over or anything like that. So anyway, what else? I mean, I'd like to clear, I've just got these like inserts from different Warhammer sets up on the wall at the moment. They're just a temporary, I don't know what to do kind of fixture for the time being. I'd like to clear all those off and perhaps get some video game posters, some full-size posters, put them in frames and put them on the wall in here. I think that'd look really cool. Maybe some lighting in here. Again, the issue, it all comes back to this fucking table. The issue is this table. I don't spend a lot of time in here outside of work, right? I don't spend a lot of time in here just sort of sitting and enjoying the space because this table dominates the space. I have flirted with the idea of putting this table in storage somewhere, because I don't do a lot of wargaming these days, really. And I certainly, you know, any tabletop gaming that I do is stuff like Warhammer Underworlds, which is you know, very small. Takes up a very small amount of room. So it could be time that this, I don't want to get rid of it, right? I don't want to get rid of this table altogether, because nice big wargaming tables like this are not easy to find at all, like tables in this size, and it's just like an absolutely perfect wargame size. So I don't want to get rid of it. it doesn't quite fit in this house or this room. So I'd like to put that into a storage somewhere, a storage shed or someone's garage or something somewhere. I have thought about moving my streaming gaming computer and sort of setting up in here, so I can have like the game shelves as a backdrop, and perhaps getting like just a smaller square table to put more centrally for gaming. That might be the way to go. But anyway, I'm talking a lot about future problems. None of those I can solve at this very moment in time. So for now, let's try and get this shelf at least mostly empty, if not completely empty, so that we've and got a home for all of this, and it doesn't have to sit here on the table any longer. A little bit of subjecting you to my love handles later, and we have a clear shelf. That was surprisingly easy, actually. I had it in my head it was going to be this huge task to try and find homes for all the games in there, but everything condensed down, really, really well. And there's still, gaps here and another one there, and there's still room to fit things if needed. So that's really great. But now we have shelf number 1, and we have a home for all of these games. So I'm going to now start filling the shelf, and we'll get a little bit of a, I can't move back far enough here, a little bit of a before shot and after. There we go. Pinched a couple of things from back in the office from the display, just to fill it out a little bit, things that were sort of down the bottom off camera. It looks a little sparse at the moment, but that's okay. That gives us room to grow. There it all is for the time being. Yeah. Happy enough with that. Obviously, now, I say obviously, and I think it is obvious, like, I've no doubt that this layout, possibly even shelf position, possibly even every single thing about it will change 50 times at least as I change my mind. But that's okay. That's all just part of the process. But yeah, there we are for now. A couple of things. I got these, I'll show you. These little display stands just off eBay. They're used for displaying plates and crockery and that sort of thing. But I find that they hold game cases, especially the lighter Switch cases, just fine. I'm using another one down here on Vice City. Now that one is a heavy case, so it's very wobbly and top heavy, and if I step on the ground too hard around it, it'll probably fall over. But for littler Switch cases, I find they work pretty well. But yeah, there we go. That's the shelf so far and the collection so far, with plenty of room left over to grow. Just what I like to see. Just a little pro tip while I'm in here too, guys. We had a massive mold outbreak here recently. Oh, when I say recently, a year or so ago. And obviously this is all cardboard. So that was a very, let's call it a sphincter clenching moment when that happened. The entire town, in fact, I think the entire region suffered from it because we had just had so much wet weather, and the conditions were just ripe for mold. And it didn't help that this game room that I'm in is an extension that's been built onto the house by the owners, and it isn't insulated or anything. It looks like it's been done very, very, very cheaply. So yeah, like it's literally just a thin layer of plaster. Something, and then outside, you know. So there's not a lot between us and the outdoors here. But what I've found has helped really well is one of these. Whoops. Yeah, if you've got a gaming room or a game collection that you want to keep safe from mold, this thing was an absolute godsend. They're not cheap. I think they cost me about $30. It lasts, it says 2 months on the thing. Mine lasted more than 2 months. And it does emit a fairly powerful smell that isn't altogether pleasant, especially in a tiny little sort of enclosed space like we're in here. But no mold problems whatsoever since I got one of these. And this is actually run out and empty at the moment. So I'm going to pick up another one of these to put in here to keep everything safe, because, you know, you've got this much money sort of tied up in your hobby and your loves. You don't want it getting ruined by something like mold, which can't really be properly eradicated completely. You know, you can hide it, you can wipe it away and clean it off, but mold spores are insidious things. So yeah, for the sake of $30, absolutely worth getting one of these, a Sanair mold gone reactive gel container, and just pop it out of sight on your shelf somewhere. It'll emit its mold killing goodness into the air and keep your whole collection safe and sound. Alright, good morning guys. It is, we at 7:45, yes. Yeah, this morning on Tuesday morning. I'm just doing a bit of editing on a video that it's coming out, but that you have probably seen by now. Talking about my list of Grail games for the hunt. Got the essentials here. So this is going to be my morning for a little bit early before I need to crack on with other things. Let's see if we can get a good pause screen. Who doesn't love a good pause screen? Oh. No. Whoop, that's close. That's pretty good, actually. That's not bad, that one. See, the thing with a good pause screen is you can't deliberately find it. It has to come about naturally. That's where you get the best pause screens. Anyway, I'm going to keep on editing here, and yeah, we'll see what the rest of the day brings. Dude, we're both standing out here in the rain just staring at each other. Just bring the ball back. Look, either bring the ball back or I'm going inside. Okay. Hey! Just remembered, guys, there's a... Ooh, we have light. There's a game in here that I wanted to show you that I forgot to show you. It's actually already in my collection. Oh, I found a red shell. Red shell for the shelf. I've got a blue one as well, I think in the office. That might end up in here. But I want to show you this. This is another one that I already have. The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition promotional disc. This was another gift from Scott. I make him sound like a very generous fellow, don't I? Slander. I've got to stop doing that. But it has The Legend of Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. And post Nintendo 64, this was, you know, one of the best ways that you could play Majora's Mask. And that's the reason he gave it to me, is because at the time I had never played it. But yeah, this is a lovely little GameCube relic that I've got on the shelf that I forgot to include in the overview of what the collection already contained. So there you go. Thanks, Scotty. All right, so I'm just out and about. It's a absolutely miserable pouring with rain afternoon here, Tuesday afternoon, and I've just had to go out and run a whole bunch of errands. I'm so busy today, it's absolutely ridiculous. But I've just gone to drop some orders off at my local post office and poked my head into that bookstore that's right next door just to have a look, and they had a couple of little bits there that they don't usually have, so I snapped them up very quickly. Yeah, I was very surprised, actually. I've never seen anything like that in there before. So anyway, they're in the bag now with me, so we'll talk about that at the end of the week, and I'll show you what I found there. All right, next stop is the local shopping centre here. I'm just going to pop my head in and get a couple of things, but it's right next door to our CEX, so you know, when in Rome, right? May as well jump in and see what's going on. I've actually remembered, funnily enough, something that I want to get that might be in CEX for quite cheap. So I'm going to just poke my nose in there and see if I can actually find it. I've forgotten all about it, but hopefully they have it. No love in CEX, unfortunately. I love seeing that Monster Hunter still there, though. I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to get on with my super exciting purchase that I'm actually in here for. And I am. Ooh. I was sorting some stuff out in a cupboard, and I found these, which I forgot to show off. This is, what do we got here? Diablo 2 plus the expansion, Diablo 3 and Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Yeah, all good stuff. Sorry about the glare. Whoa. So that's what I had before I managed to get the actual proper cardboard big boxes. Maybe if I turn around this way. No, that's not really any better, is it? A little bit better. So we got Diablo 2, Diablo 3. I love this box. I mean, again, we got the nice Blizzard multi-fold boxes, but it's just this. I think, was this the last box? Did Overwatch come out before or after Diablo 3? I can't remember. Probably after, right? Alright, let's have a look in here. Right. So, I mean, look at that. This might be one of my favorite boxes they've made. So cool. Like, who doesn't want to play that? Looking at it. Whoop, a bit blurry. Yeah, really nice. So that's a nice box. And then we've got Reaper of Souls. Lovely. I was one of those people that played Diablo 3 on launch. I don't think I ran into the famed login error though. But man, it was a it was a rough loot game in the early stages. But they got there. And it's a very fun game. It's just not a very good Diablo game, I don't think. Excellent game, great action RPG, just not a great Diablo game. Didn't really feel like Diablo. But yeah, I tracked those down, so I'm going to go and add these onto the shelf as well and give them a home that isn't tucked away in a cupboard. Good little finds though. Oh, we've had another good find in the cupboards. Look at this. I found my Wii U Mario Kart 8 edition box. Love this box. But not only that, I found my Switch OLED and original Switch boxes. They're a bit dusty. Holy Christ. They're very dusty. So we're going to get these cleaned up and we'll see if we can find a home for them on the shelf. God, we might be running short on room already, just looking at that. Ooh. All right, we'll see how we go. All right, and there we go. Shelf reorganized. I've got Yoshi sitting up here until I find him a forever home. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to stay there. I need to find a spot for him in here somewhere. But yeah, that looks pretty good. That's sort of what I like to do with the boxes. They just help to bulk out the display and make it not look so empty. That's the top shelf. Down below we got the Switch boxes in under here, along with a few amiibos that have been borrowed from Madam's room. It's okay, I'm not stealing my daughter's toys. They were mine to start with. That got borrowed and never came back. So they've been re-borrowed and repurposed. But yeah, you know, that gives us a start. You know, again, I don't expect it to stay like this. Obviously, the goal is to try and fill this out with games, isn't it? You know. But for now, you know, the top two shelves, poor old PlayStation shelves looking a bit bare by comparison, but the first two, I think that looks pretty good. Certainly a nice little sight to have as you walk into the room. But I can very quickly tell, I feel, that we're going to need that second shelf, which means we're going to have to, at some point, make the hard decision about what to do with this table. Oh well. That's later Jamie's problem. Poor old later Jamie, he ends up with a lot of problems. Hey guys, what's happening? So it's been 2 days now since you saw me last. It's now Thursday morning here. Man, we had some insane weather yesterday. It was like the weather had been, as you'd seen, pretty miserable all week, but it sort of culminated yesterday. It's like this crazy cyclonic conditions. It was like blowing and raining, and the windows in my house were shaking. It was just absolutely nuts. Anyway. And my mum came to visit me yesterday amongst all that, so we kind of just huddled down inside for the whole day. She brought me some goodies, actually. She brought me some goodies for the shelf. Good on you, Mum. Well done. So I'll show you those at the end of the week as well. That's very exciting. I was very happy to get those. Another interesting thing that happened amongst the weather yesterday is the postman came very, very late in the day, right at the end, with a huge stack of parcels of eBay finds. Tell you what, it has gone from like famine to flood. After last week and just having to scrape and scrounge to find anything of note to go on the game shelf, this week has just been, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put it all. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just a total and complete turnaround. So yeah, lots and lots to show you at the end of the week this week, which is great. I'm a happy boy. So I'm out and about just running some errands, getting some jobs done before the Easter break and everything shuts down. But while I'm out, I'm going to make 2 stops into secondhand stores just to see what they've got going on. One I've never been into before. In my area, I've lived here for nearly a decade now, and I've never been into this store, so I don't know why. I don't know why it hasn't popped up on my radar, but I'm going to poke my head in there and see if they've got anything game-wise. The other one is, it's a shop that I've been in there recently, and I was a bit disappointed because it used to be fantastic for games. and now they've had a shuffle around and reorganized, and there wasn't a whole lot there. But I'm gonna go back and have another look today. That was a few weeks ago that I popped in to see what they had. I'll go back in today and see what's going on, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. So yeah, let's do it. Oh, what's this? Where have you been? I've just pulled up at this Salvation Army family store that I've never been to have a look, and I got a message from Scott. It said, "I just got one of my Grail games!" exclamation point, and then he sent me this photo. I said, "Does it have any dirt on it?" He said, "No." I said, "It's not a legit copy then, is it?" Let's go in here and have a look what we can find. Nope, no luck in there. Not a game in sight. All right, one down, one to go. Let's see if we fare better at the next one. All right, we have made it to the Lifeline Superstore. Now, the reason why I wanted to come here is that a long time ago, right? Probably, you know, I'm talking years ago, this place used to have a really cool retro video game section, right? Like a glass cabinet that used to have NES games, Super Nintendo games. They used to have a lot of Master System stuff, some consoles sometimes. I saw an Atari there once. But yeah, as I said, that was a long time ago. So I came, but with that in mind, right, when I decided to start doing this collecting project midlife crisis thing, I remembered that. I said, oh, I've got to go back there and have a look. Well, how the times have changed. That section is a thing of the past, long gone. They do have a wall of DVDs, and they don't really seem to separate the games from the DVDs. So you can find games just kind of like scattered through all of the hundreds of DVDs. So it's a little bit of a project. I didn't find anything when I came sort of, you know, a month ago or so. But we'll go back in, we'll have another look now. You never know. You just never know. I'm also on the lookout for, like I said, anime DVDs and movies that I used to own that I'd like to get back. So if nothing else, I'll be able to have a look through the DVDs. But who knows? Let's go and see what we can find. Maybe they've reinstalled the retro section since I was here last. That'd be amazing. Let's find out. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Not a thing that we're chasing. Oh, man, the wind out there. Whew. Yeah, wow. Not much in there anymore compared to the old days. Would they have $50 on that batch of PS3 games that are probably worth like, what, $1 each or something like that now? Oh man, disappointing. Didn't find anything in the DVD section either, so that was it. I think I'm going to shoot past my regular boxes of games on the floor, Vinny's shop, on the way home. It's on the road home anyway, so I'll pull in there real quick, and that'll be our last roll of the dice for the week, I think. I mean, I can't complain. I've had such an amazing week on eBay. I've got a bunch of stuff that my mum found for me that's fantastic. Like, you know, we've had a few secondhand store wins. The bookshop, man, wait till you see what I found in the bookshop. That was unreal. So yeah, it's been compared to last week, I have no complaints whatsoever this week. It's been a really good week, but we'll make that one last stop, and then I think we're gonna call it a week this week. So I actually managed to find a few gems in there. I picked up a couple of things. Oh my, what a week. That's unreal. What a way to cap off the week. Just, this has been easily, by far and away, the best week so far since I started doing this thing. Yeah, I'm wrapped. This is great. All right, I'm gonna get this stuff home. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. And then, yeah, we'll have a look at what we managed to acquire. Let's do it. Good kill. Okay, so ask me if this week was better than last week. Go on, ask me. Well, I had to get a bigger bag. Oh my lord, there's some weight in this thing. Holy crap. Yeah. The answer is yeah. Okay, let's get into this. Let's do this. Let's go through this stuff here. All right. So we'll start with, as we often do, the second-hand store finds, and then at the end I'll show you what I managed to track down on eBay. A lot of packages came in from eBay this week. It was a really good week. I ended up going to quite a few secondhand stores this week. Didn't have, a ton of luck, but what I did find, I was pretty chuffed with. But eBay couldn't have been more different to last week. There was plenty to find and plenty to choose from. Let's get into it. Secondhand stores first. Okay. So the first stop I made was that Lifeline store that was actually shutting down, as it turns out. I didn't know that when I walked in there, but so you already saw that I managed to pick up Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. Watch this with the kiddo. I don't think she was super impressed with it, to be honest. I remember this being jaw-dropping when it first came out. I first watched this, I remember, on the last day of, I think, year 11, maybe, in high school, maybe. in my multimedia class on the very last day of school, we put this on and watched this, and I thought it was fantastic. So, does it hold up? Yeah, I tell you, it still looks surprisingly good. I was really impressed with how good this still looks. I mean, it looks a bit dated, sure, CGI wise, but yeah, it still looks pretty good. Like, so I just looking at it now, thinking, damn, this still looks pretty good. It must have just blown our heads off back in the day. But anyway, $1 I managed to pick that up for. I grabbed one game out of their cabinet. They had that little glass case with just a handful of Wii games. No surprises which one I picked up. It was Epic Mickey on the Wii. There was pretty much the only one of interest that was in there. Now this one does kind of go against my I'm only grabbing stuff that's special to me rule. I've never played this. I really only grabbed it because it was there. They were shutting down. I probably won't ever go back there again before they do close down. They're not going to get any more stock in before they close down. They had this one game that I knew was, of some interest. So I picked it up. They actually had $4 on this. And I said to the lady, that's probably, that's probably a bit much for me. I'll leave it there for somebody else to have. And she said, I'll give it to you for $2. And I was like, fuck it, for $2, why not? I've always been interested in it. I've always thought it looked pretty cool, like a very pretty game. But I don't know if I'll ever even get the chance to try it, but it sells for it still goes for $10 to $15 on eBay. So if nothing else, I'll be able to resell it and make a bit of a profit. But it was there, $2. I thought, you know what, why not? It can come with me. Break my rule just this once. All right, now, my little bookshop. So, I've been going to that bookshop for as long as I've been living here, just about, right? Not as often as I have done recently, but I always pop my head in whenever I'm in that part of town. And now that I live close to it and I'm always going to the post office next to it for work, I'm constantly going in there all the time to have a look. And they've got that bookshelf of games, and that selection of games almost never changes, right? Every time you go in there, it's the exact same lot of games that you've seen 10, 20 times already, right? So, I never have like the highest of hopes when I go in there, right? I just go in there because it's actually a lovely little secondhand bookshop. I have a look through the books as well. I find more books there, obviously, than I do games because, you've seen what they've got there. It's a decent selection for a tiny little bookshop, don't get me wrong, but what they've got is what they've got, and that's it. You're not going in there, and there's not a lot of turnover. We'll say that, right? So as I do, I pop my head in there, and imagine my surprise when I find, as I walk in and look at the shelf, and see all the usual suspects sitting on the shelf there, but sitting in front of them, not even properly put away, is a PlayStation 1 game. Now, I've never, for as long as I've been going to secondhand stores here, ever seen a PlayStation 1 game in any of them for sale, right? So, almost out of shock and surprise, I just grabbed it. I didn't care what it was. I was just like, oh my God, snatch. And it came with me. And so I took it up to the counter. And I said, I'll have this, please, if that's okay. And she said, I've actually got another one. It's over here if you'd like it, right? And she's got a shelf sort of near the counter where she keeps all the, that's the top shelf, right? Like that's all the expensive doodads and the really fancy stuff. And sure enough, she's got another game on the shelf up there. The first one that I found out to my surprise had a $3 sticker on it, right? And I thought, I'm having that. $3, whatever. It's a fucking PlayStation 1 game. I've never seen this before. For $3, I'm taking it. The one that she had on the shelf behind her was $10 she had on it. Now, I don't know, they're lovely old ladies that run this place, but we're talking 60, 70, 80-year-old ladies here. I don't know. I'm sure they know books. I'm sure they know books inside and out, and they know exactly what books are worth. I don't know how they come up with their video game prices, right? Maybe they're avid gamers. I shouldn't judge, more power to them. But I don't know where they get their video game prices from. Anyway, I don't know what made her think that this one was worth $10, but they'd slapped $10 on it. So she pulled it down off the shelf and she showed me and she said, what do you think? And I said, I turned it over. Had a couple of cracks in it. Obviously, it's been thrown into a charity bin, a Lifeline bin, and things have fallen on it. How these things come out in one piece from those places, I don't know really. But I had a few nicks in the case, and I said, no, I don't know. I said, look, it's broken. It's got some pieces missing off the case here. I think I might leave it. And she said, is it broken? I'll give it to you for $5 if you want. And I was like, okay. So I've broken my rule again. Out of pure shock. So the first one that I got cheap for $3 from that place was V-Rally, the Platinum Edition. Now this thing looks absolutely brand new. Like it doesn't have a scratch or a scuff or a sticker or anything. It looks like it's literally just come off a game store shelf back in the year 2000. As soon as I laid eyes on it, I've never played it. I had a friend who owned it back in the day. I mean, I love races. I'm sure if I had have played it back in the day, I would have liked it, but I haven't played this one. But yeah, like I said, I was so surprised. My hand moved before my brain even had time to register what was happening, and it was on my person and being taken to the counter. But it is absolutely immaculate, this game. So I don't think it's particularly valuable. I don't think I could resell it for very much at all. Like I said, it was a shock buy, that one. The other one that I have had some exposure with, I'm not a big fan of these games, but again, I haven't seen anything even remotely like it in that shop, was Crash Bandicoot 2. This was the $10 one that she had on the shelf that she did me for $5. Now, it's not in as good a condition as V-Rally is. This one does look like it, is a bit scratched and scuffed and pre-loved. It's still in very good condition, mind you, but it doesn't look brand new in the way that V-Rally does. But you can see there that it's got some damage to the corners of the case. And when I pointed that out, she very kindly half-priced it for me, down to probably the most that anyone would ever really consider paying for this. I don't know. I looked it up on eBay. It doesn't sell for a whole lot. I think my girlfriend back in high school had this game and the first one. I think she liked them. I wasn't a fan. I'm not a 3D platformer fan. And I certainly didn't like Crash Bandicoot. But again, it was there, dude. Listen, when you live where I live and you see PlayStation 1 anything in the secondhand stores around here, you grab that shit. You grab that shit and you take it because you may never see it again. And so that's exactly what I've done with these two little darlings here. So they now belong on my shelf for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. But V-Rally in particular, I actually genuinely really like the look of it. So I might try and see if I can figure out a way to play that somehow at some point. Crash, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but but I've got them anyway. They're here. So yeah, amazing. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. Maybe this is ludicrous where you are and where you come from, but for here where I am, that's like, they may as well just put a piece of gold bullion on the shelf, for all intents and purposes. Okay, so that was all the second-hand stores I managed to get to that day. The next day, that was really wild weather where very, very, very late in the day, I got all my eBay parcels dropped off. We'll get to them in a minute. But my mum came to visit, and my mum had some freebies for me. Now, she was clearing out some of our old video games that we'd left that she must have come across in a bag or something. And this was quite a while ago. And I remember saying, I'll have that. I think the rest of it was my brother's 360 collection. I probably should have paid closer attention to what was in there, but I didn't. But there was one GameCube game amongst it that I remember playing and enjoying back in the day, and that was Enter the Matrix on the GameCube. I had quite a good time with this. I think it's got two discs in there, which was a bit unusual for GameCube games back in the day, if I remember rightly. That didn't happen very often. Got the manual there. I mean, it's pretty well loved. It's pretty scuffed. It's pretty grubby. There's a security sticker on the back that I can't seem to get off. But, you know, yeah, I got good memories of this one. And I was surprised that it was still around, floating around in the old Rent's house. So I'll hang on to that. That'll get a place on the shelf. And go into the collection. I just realized I didn't show you the inside of Epic Mickey or the PlayStation games, but it's all there. The manuals, the disc, and, you know, the whole lot. They're all complete. Now, the next things that she found, I remember she messaged me on, sent me a message because she'd found these on Facebook Marketplace up where she lives, and asked if I was interested, if these were any good. I was like, are you kidding me? Yes. I don't know how much they cost. She didn't tell me, except that they were very, very, very cheap, and she didn't want any money for them. So that is Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the Dragon Ball Z manga. And as you can see, they are hefty, hefty books. I think each of them has 3 issues of the manga, and they basically cover an entire saga. So we've got the Saiyan saga, and I think at least the beginning of the Namek saga. Where does it get up to? Let's have a look here. Looks like it ends just as Goku arrives on Namek. Or pretty close to. Oh no. Not quite. Pretty close to him arriving on Namek. So there you go. Big, chunky, they look, like I said, these look brand new. Absolutely brand new. Artwork is gorgeous. I've never read the manga before. Obviously, I've watched the series a lot, multiple times. And I was rapt. Absolutely rapt to have these. Very, very happy. Beautiful spines on them too. Look at that. Which now means I'm probably going to have to try and track down the rest of it. So she's given me a gift, but I feel like she's also probably given me a problem. But not to worry. I am very, very grateful and glad I have these now. That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Mum. She'll never watch this, but thanks, Mum. Love you. All right. We had a couple of washes on charity shops with the Salvation Army. Had absolutely nothing. My poor old retro game store. No, nothing. Lots of DVDs. If you want DVDs, plenty of those. Games, not a lot going on there. But my good old buckets on the floor Vinny's secondhand shop came through. Man, I wasn't even going to stop. I wasn't even going to go in there. And I just was like, it's on the road on the way home. I was in there not long ago. What the hell? I'll poke my nose in just to see what's going on. I'm glad I poked my nose in because I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in there that I'll show you now. Yeah, unreal. It's just, isn't it funny how you can just walk in there and there's absolutely nothing, and then 2 days later, someone's dropped off a bunch of stuff that you happen to want. You know, it's wild how it works. The first one's not for me. The first one's actually a gift for Dominic. He may or may not already own this. He may or may not even want it. It was $1. Easy gamble. But that was this. It's a must be like a season of The Simpsons or something to that effect. But the reason I picked it up is because, and it's supposed to have a case, I'm sure, that goes around this, that it doesn't. But the reason I picked it up is because, and Dom's a big Simpsons fan, by the way, it actually unfolds to make this really cool display. If I can show you. And it's double-sided. Here we go. And I just thought that looked awesome. It wasn't in like great nick. I've cleaned it up. A few of the the pouches were coming apart, so I've re-glued them all back together again. But yeah, if nothing else, I thought he might like that just to have in the background somewhere. He can put it up as a concertina display, you know, in his game room or his office or something somewhere. But anyway, I found it. It was $1. I thought, nah, we'll take the gamble. Why not? All right. So with Dominic sorted and out of the way, I found a couple of other bits and pieces. I found a couple of DVDs and I found a couple of games, surprisingly. The first DVD I found was this, Pokemon the Movie 2000. Anything Pokemon related that I find in a second-hand shop is almost an automatic buy for me. Good movie. Didn't like it as much as the first one, but did still very much like it. I remember going to movies to see this. And yeah, again, any Pokemon paraphernalia, games, movies, posters, books, whatever I can get my hands on, if I don't already have it, and I think it's worth having a spot on the shelf, I will snap that up. That cost me $1. So for $1, yeah, I'll take that every day of the week. Thank you very much. The next one was interesting. You probably saw me spending some time looking at it, actually, because it caught my eye, and that is the Spider-Man 2, what is it? The Collector's DVD gift set, right? Now, normally I don't collect DVDs, right? Like, I'm not a DVD guy. I'm not looking to start a DVD collection. The reason I grabbed this is because, well, there's only really two reasons, I suppose. It's a damn good movie for a start, and I've got a lot of fond memories of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man series. I'll need to go back and, if I see the first one again in a secondhand store somewhere, I'll probably snap that up as well to have on the shelf. Like, I can't describe to you, being as massive a Spider-Man fan as I am, what it was like seeing your hero on the big screen for the first time. It was mind-blowing, right? Which actually ties into something I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I've got a lot of really good memories around these films, so I'll probably snap them up if I see them. Just, again, very selective. I'm not trying to collect all my favorite movies or anything like that. But yeah, it comes with the DVD. But the reason I bought it, and this was also $1, by the way, that's one reason I bought it. And I'll probably put some footage over the top now to show you, but it had this this little concept art book. It says Comic Book Artist's Portfolio. And this was great. This was full of really cool concept art and comic book art related to the film. And as I flipped through that, I was like, wow, I haven't seen anything like that before. That's rad. I think if this is $1, I'm going to buy it just for this. And sure enough, it was $1, and so I took it. They also had a concept to screen portfolio. So this is, again, more concept art, but linking it up to different scenes in the film. As you can see, lots of this sort of thing. So another cool little thing to have. It's not complete. I can see there's also supposed to be some postcards in here. There's supposed to be a mini comic book, the Spider-Man No More comic, a miniature version. That would be really fucking cool to have, but not here, unfortunately. But yeah, for $1, for the sake of $1, a film I've got very, very good movies around, very, very good memories around. A character I absolutely adore, and that really cool little art book that was in there. Hey, I'll have that for $1, no sweat. So yeah, that was my other DVD buy in good old Vinnie's. Now in the game bin, so I went digging in the game bin. I found one game that is on my list that I would like to have. It's not a grail or anything, but just one I knew that I wanted to try and reacquire. This is not, unfortunately, the version that I had. The version that I had is quite difficult to come by for a reasonable amount of money. But this will do, no problems. It was $3, and that's good old Dawn of War. Now, I played a lot of Dawn of War, a lot, when I used to live with in a house with Sam and our buddy Gary. This was certainly on the regular rotation for some online gaming and some network gaming. It doesn't have a manual or anything like that, unfortunately, but and it doesn't look like it this edition may have ever come with a manual. Like there's no slots here to put a manual in, but the discs are absolutely immaculate. as is the case. Like, it's in really, really good condition. Yeah, loved that game. I don't know how well it's aged. Probably not terribly well. I didn't get on with the sequels anywhere near as well as I did this first one, but I loved this first game. One of my favorite RTSs. Did something different with the genre, which was really refreshing at the time. We hadn't ever seen sort of map control be done in the same way that Dawn of War had done it. Well, I certainly had it anyway at the time. So yeah, I was really happy to pick that one up for $3. One of my favorites of all time. I will have that for the shelf for sure. The other one is a game that I can't honestly say that I've played. I've watched Scott play it, and I've done a fair bit of that. And but it's a game that I quite like the look of. It's one I've got good memories of hanging out and playing or watching, you know, sort of the two of you sort of sit and one of you plays, one of you heckles. I've got a lot of good memories of doing that with lots of games with Scott, to be honest. But this one caught my eye because A, you don't see it very often, and B, I think it's actually quite difficult to come by. It might be. I don't know how valuable it is. I think it could have some value to it. And that is Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, Scott and I played the GameCube version of this, but this was the Xbox, obviously, version. That's fine. I don't mind because it's not a game that I owned. Beautiful back cover, as you've probably seen on the screen already. No manual, unfortunately, just a disc on that one. But it was $1. Now, I don't know what the resale value is on this. I don't know if it's worth anything. Maybe it is. If it is, let me know in the comments below. But for the sake of $1, again, it's just not a title that I really ever see in secondhand stores. Like, this is something that you would see in a CEX or something with some stupid, ridiculous price on it, most likely, right? So yeah, for $1, Ultimate Spider-Man, I was taking it. So yeah, I made out of there like a bandit. Like, I don't walk out of that secondhand store with a handful of stuff like that very often at all. It's more just I'd be lucky if I'm in there for 30 seconds. I walk in, check the game baskets, nothing there, I leave. But this time, and last time I got the Dragon Ball Z DVD and the Pokemon Season 9 set. So that's like two visits in a row. They've come through. I need to go back and make sure I'm paying more attention to that place, I think, for sure. It's one of my regulars. Like, that's one because it's so convenient. It's very close to where I live. I drive past it all the time, so it's no problem to just stop and have a bit of a look. Yeah, I think I'm going to be doing more of that. But that concludes the secondhand store finds for this week, as well as lovely gifts from Mum. So let's get into my eBay haul. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got some good stuff in here. Okay. So number one is one of my weird, odd picks. I have played it, so it's not one of those picks where I've never actually played the game, but I'm still nostalgic about it. I have played this game. I'm awful at this game. I'm awful at every iteration of this game that exists. But I like it for a very, very specific reason, and that is Street Fighter 4. Now, I love Street Fighter. I love everything about Street Fighter. And I've talked about this on the channel before. I love the art, the characters, the way the game looks, the lore, the story to it. I'm just not very good playing it. I'm awful at Street Fighter, as I am with all fighting games. It's all complete. Now, this isn't the best condition copy in the whole wide world. It's got I don't know if you can see it there. It's got a bit of a dent / cut in the back cover. The manual is not in the best condition. It's not too bad, but it's got, yeah, a little bit of a scuff here where it's been well thumbed, I suppose. It's an interesting saying, isn't it? Well thumbed. But everything else looks good. The disc looks good. The front cover looks good. It looks like it's a it doesn't have the AU, where is it? The AU ratings on it, so I'm not sure if that was a thing for a while, where they were just directly getting the UK versions and they'd stick a sticker over there. I've seen that done before, and the sticker's just not there. I don't know what the go is there, or whether it is actually a UK version. I don't know. Anyway, like this is, so I got this for $5. Now this is a game that still sells for decent money, sort of 10, 15, 20, $25. I was seeing copies of this going for on eBay. So when I found one for $5, that looked like it was in it's always hard to tell with it. Like, it's a little bit of a lottery on eBay, right? Like, you just roll the dice and see what you get. I've had a few swings and misses on good old eBay over the years. So this one wasn't too bad. For $5, I'm happy enough with it. If I happen to see a cheaper copy in better condition, I'll swap it out and upgrade it. But for now, happy to have that one on the shelf. Why is it on the shelf? Well, the reason this is on the shelf is because more than anything else, I love watching Street Fighter. I love watching people play Street Fighter who know how to play. Scott is fantastic at Street Fighter. Sam is an absolute demon at Street Fighter. Watching those two go at it is like poetry in motion. It's really, really good. I watch Evo every single year. I absolutely love it. That's kind of my Super Bowl, I suppose you could call it. I just think it's fantastic. And the reason why I wanted Street Fighter 4 in particular is because I feel like Street Fighter 4 represents sort of like the end of an era for Evo. Street Fighter 4, when it first came out, it was back in the day where, they were still running rounds of Evo on a show floor with people sitting on, those really cheap, stackable chairs, right, in front of like big TVs on trolleys, and with the fucking sticks on their laps or controllers, and you'd have a crowd, people were just freely roaming around everywhere around the floor. So you get these crowds forming around these really, really high profile matchups, cheering and shouting and jeering and all that sort of like trash talking. When you'd see the finals up on stage, it was very sort of low budget ghetto, but in a really cool kind of like, for lack of a better word, street fight kind of way, like it looked cheap, but in, I don't know, there was something very endearing about it. Something very endearing about having these two contestants up on the stage with just a screen behind them showing the action and a crowd right up against the stage just going absolutely fucking bananas. You just don't see it anymore. It's like Evo's changed. It's gone so corporate. It's so sterile now. The contestants, like, the actual combatants are sitting separated from one another. There's no crowd like right there. They're watching from another part of the building. It's a limited amount of people that are there. It's, the commentators do a really good job of trying to inject, some of that old fire into Evo and the matchups that happen. And it's the same with Capcom Cup now as well, I think. But it's just nothing compared to the good old days of Street Fighter 4. Like, that was, I think, the peak of Evo Street Fighter and all of Street Fighter 4's incarnations, where it still had that kind of grunge to it, that kind of that vibe. It's just lost now. So yeah, lots of really good memories watching some great matchups in Street Fighter 4 on Evo, and yeah, just watching it in general, and I just love it. So it's one I knew I wanted on the shelf, even though I've played it and I'm awful at it, and I don't play it a lot, but still have a lot of really good memories around it. So yeah, Street Fighter 4, a $5, had to be on there. Okay, now we got a big hitter. All right, we got a couple of big. For me, they're all big hitters from here down, really. I've got some PlayStation 2 games. I bought both of these off of the one seller together. They were $15 each. So these are, for the kinds of things I've been buying, Mario Kart Wii excluded, these are quite pricey. And they're difficult to find at that price, or I have found them to be difficult to find at that price in decent condition. So when I was able to sort of talk to the seller and work out a deal and I was happy with, and he was happy with, I pulled the trigger on these because I knew they were ones that I would like to have in my collection. Another strange pick, even though it's a really big hitter for me, the first one is Kingdom Hearts. in that beautiful, hard to show you, foil cover. Now this is the original, as you can see, first edition Squaresoft before they merged with Enix, where it still had the foil cover. I think after they merged with Enix and they reproduced this, it just had the plain matte cover, if I'm not mistaken. It's all there in really, really good condition, and I can't stress how difficult it is to find this game in this kind of condition for that kind of money. Now, Kingdom Hearts, why did I want it? So, my high school sweetheart loved this game, absolutely adored it. I don't think I gave it the credit it was due, or the... I don't know. I don't think I gave it the time or the energy that it deserved back in the day, right? Because my taste as a Dragon Ball Z obsessed teenage boy did not revolve around Disney characters interacting with Final Fantasy characters. It just wasn't my cup of tea, right? But I always loved how it looked. Like there was something about it, something about the look and the feel and the vibe of it that I always did kind of like just quietly when my buddies weren't listening, like, okay, that does actually look pretty cool, But I never really played much of it. I watched it get played quite a bit. But I have very fond memories of it, right? Of memories of it. Reminds me of a time in my life, as we all do in high school, right? Back in the good old high school days where you were just so much more carefree and unburdened with the heaviness of life. That when I think about that time, Kingdom Hearts is I don't know, there's something about it that sort of there's a joyfulness to it that really exemplifies that period of time in our lives, I think. So it's one I would very much like to try. In fact, I've got a PS4 at the moment that I'm borrowing off my buddy Gary, so that my daughter can play through Final Fantasy VII Remake. And while we've got it, I actually picked up a copy of the HD version of Kingdom Hearts so that I can sit down and have a shot at it. Just if for nothing else than to say that I've done it, right? And I think that copy of the PS4 HD version, the 1.5 and 2.5 double pack, I think I got it cheaper than I did this, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I'm keen to try it. I'm keen to give it a go. Like I said, a lot of good memories around it. There's something about it when I look at Kingdom Hearts that's sort of like you can kind of feel it in your chest. Do you know what I mean? Like, am I making any sense at all? There's like a fuzziness, like a warm fuzziness to it. So yeah, it's one that I knew I wanted, even though I didn't play a whole lot of it. But I plan to rectify that. I'm hoping it holds up. I'm not expecting it's going to be amazing these days, but yeah, I'm hoping I can find something to love in it. So, pick number 1, Kingdom Hearts, a staple for game collections, I think, really. The second one, interesting enough, talking about Spider-Man 2, the DVD collection. The second one is the Spider-Man movie game. That I also played. You can see me in the reflection. Hi. That I also played with my high school sweetheart and really loved this game. Like, this was a really good game, and you don't hear that about movie tie-in games very often. You certainly did not hear that about movie tie-in games back then, right? But this was actually like a genuinely decent Spider-Man game. I really liked all the dialogue that got recorded just for the game. That was fantastic. Hearing Spider-Man talk about how he pulls his punches, answering the long-asked question of how does he not just cave people's skulls in with his strength when you're fighting thug after thug after thug in video games, right? This game addressed that, which I really appreciated as a Spider-Man fan. But as you just saw, it's all there. The manual and the disc, they're both in great condition. I mean, this one looks like there's a bit of scuffing to Kingdom Hearts. It's in very good condition for this game for that age. It's one of the best conditioned ones I've seen. But this looks damn near brand new. So I was really happy with that. And yeah, I got them both for $30, and I was happy to do that. So yeah, very glad I've got that one in the collection.
it will go into the I was going to say PS2 shelf, but I don't have enough PS2 games to warrant a shelf. The PlayStation shelf. Yeah, that's probably a smarter way to put it. All right. I have 3 more to go. So many good memories around this game. I tell you, this is like a... Oh, it gives me the kind of warm and fuzzies in the same way that Kingdom Hearts does, but in a totally different way. And that is because largely of the narration, right? So we all know and love the late great Leonard Nimoy as Spock from Star Trek. Yes, I did not watch Star Trek back in the day. I do now. I've seen them all and absolutely love it. One of my favorite shows of all time. But what I knew Leonard Nimoy from was him telling me that I discovered pottery in Civilization 4. Man, this game would not have been the same without him. That, coupled with the amazing intro song that is still an absolute banger now. So good. And this game is in really good condition. I looked at a few of these, and it was so hard to find one of these that didn't have stickers, sale stickers, all over the box, or huge rips in the cardboard on the box, on the sleeve, I should say, from those stickers being torn off. This one has a very tiny little mark in the top corner there, but otherwise looks really, really good. It's got a little bit of scuffing, or a little bit of wear on one side, but compared to some of the other ones I've seen, this is damn near perfect. Now, it's all there. I'm going to pull the sleeve cover off. Now, I can't show you inside the sleeve, unfortunately, but inside the sleeve, it looks like it's a map, which is so cool. And an inkwell. I love little touches like that, you know, like no one's ever going to... Can you see that or not? You kind of can. Is that a compass? Or a sextant or whatever the hell? No, I can't. You can't see it. Anyway, just trust me. It's in there. So we've got the manual. Huge... big chunky manual, looks brand new. No pages loose or anything like that. Sometimes you get like loose pages when you get the binding, whatever type of binding this is. Those old manuals tend to start letting go. The glue starts to let go, but not so here. And of course there's the game. And it's all there, including the tech tree map, which is in immaculate condition. And there's even a 2K Games, what is this? A registration card. There we go. Lovely. So yeah, I think it's my favorite Civ. I wouldn't call myself a huge Civ fan. I'm more of an RTS guy than a Civ style game guy. But I do like it. I do like it quite a bit, right? And I did like Civ 4 in particular a lot. I didn't care for Civ 5. Civ 6 I do enjoy quite a bit as well. But Civ 4 is the one that I've got the most fond memories of. And again, Leonard Nimoy's voice telling me all the things I've discovered and all the things that are happening. I don't know. I just love that he's been immortalized, you know, beyond the realms of Star Trek, because I think, you know, for a particular generation of gamers who maybe didn't discover Star Trek like me until they were an adult, they would have known him from this, and they probably wouldn't have even known who he was, but they were very familiar with his voice from this game, and I just think that's particularly special. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, Civ 4, $5 this cost me. A $5. Can you believe it? For a beautiful, sleeved, amazing condition copy of Civ 4 for $5. It was unreal. So yeah, it had to come home with me. That's great. Ordered that one. Glad it showed up in time for the video. Okay, moving on. Oh, this next box is really heavy for what it is. This is packed. Okay, this box. I'm gonna have to make some fucking space here. Hang on. Oh my lord. I'm going to pick it all up and show you at the end, and there could be an accident. All right. Man, have I put some fucking hours into this game. Oh my God. Another one of my most played games of all time, I would dare say. For a little while there, it was like the king of LAN parties. If you were of a certain ilk, if you had a certain interest in a certain genre, this was the pick of the day. The customization that, you know, that you could have, the fan content that came out for this game in the wake of it being released was incredible. The expansions that came out, and I don't play through many games in their entirety at all, right? I very, very rarely complete games, or, you know, when I say complete, I'm not talking about 100% complete. I mean finish the game, you know. But I not only finished this, but finished the subsequent expansions as well. And there's so many versions of this around that I really had to look hard to find the one that I had back in the day, and that is Neverwinter Nights. Ah, my stars. It is so good. Look at that box. Come on. So gold, I think there was a gold, there was a platinum, there was a diamond, there was a fucking God knows what other versions of this around. There were so many versions of Neverwinter Nights. The gold version is the one that I had. And I'm going to open this up because there's a really cool story with this purchase, right? So I bought this, and the only photo on the listing was that, right? Literally just the front of the box and nothing else. So I messaged the seller and said, look, does this come with everything? Does this come with like all the discs and the manual, and, you know, is it all there? Is it complete in box? And they said yes. I was like, okay. It was $6, right? This cost me $6 to get this in box. So not a big expense. I thought, look, let's just pull the trigger. We'll roll the dice. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it shows up and it's all there. Well, let me take you on a journey. So as I unpack this box that is incredibly heavy, right? Most of the weight is coming from this, right? The manual, the ring-bound manual that I remember. Oh man, I remember that so well. Again, all in really good condition, really good condition, almost like brand new kind of condition. So that's in there. And then this is what I remember, right? Is this little foldable sleeve that all the game discs were in. And that's what I've got the real memory of. I do remember getting the box, but this is what I spent so much time looking at, taking discs in and out of this sleeve, folding it and unfolding it, folding it and unfolding it. I never really left discs in my PC back then, so I was constantly taking them out, putting them away, taking them out, putting them away. Beautiful artwork on this thing. As anyone who owned one of these will know, and they were everywhere back in the day. And there's the Underdark sleeve. So this thing folds out all the way like this. Okay. And as you can see, the discs are there in immaculate condition. They're all there. And then, as we get down this end, 4 discs, you see, there's a save this space for Hordes of the Underdark. And as you can see, there's a disc there. What? So I managed to get not only Neverwinter Nights Gold, which comes with the, I think it's the Shadows of Undrentide expansion. That's what the gold version has, I'm fairly certain. What does it say on the box here? Includes original Neverwinter Nights and the Shadows of Undrentide expansion pack, right? So I had both of those games, played through both of those. I bought Hordes of the Underdark separately, and I kept it in this sleeve, right? I don't remember what happened to the box. I must have thrown it away, but I kept it in this. And so the fact that I opened this up and Hordes of the Underdark was in there unexpectedly was just like the coolest little... I can't get that out. Oh, God. This is like my first date all over again. There we go. Was the coolest little surprise, right? Totally unexpected. I'm like, wow, I've managed to score Underdark as well. That sells for, a little bit on its own. But we're not done. Also in that box is the Hordes of the Underdark manual, which I didn't expect to find, right? All there, again, in absolutely pristine condition. Also in that box is the Kingmaker expansion shoved in there, right? Also in that box is the Kingmaker manual in pristine condition. This tiny little leaflet that came with Kingmaker. For $6. For $6. Not only did I get Neverwinter Nights Gold, but I got I think everything that was ever released for Neverwinter Nights. That was an unbelievable find. I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I would have been happy if I had just found this, honestly, just this sleeve and nothing else. But to get it in the box, in that shiny gold metallic box with all this extra stuff. Sometimes you swing and miss on eBay, and it's a bit of a gamble. And when you gamble, sometimes you lose, but sometimes sometimes gambling is good, kids. Sometimes gambling is good. Unreal. So I was a very, very happy boy. And again, so many fond memories of this game. We played so much of this game, just over and over and over again, playing different modules, different fan-created content, different content that we, our friend group, had made. I must have played, I think I've only finished the game once. I've played through the first third of the game. I couldn't even tell you how many times. So many times. It's one I remember fondly, very, very fondly. One of my favorite games ever. And yeah, I was just very, very happy to find not just the gold boxed edition, but the entire game, everything. at least what I know to be everything. Maybe they've released more and I'm not aware of it, but I think this is a complete edition now of Neverwinter Nights, and that makes me incredibly, incredibly happy. So for $6, yes, eBay win. That's straight on the shelf. The only thing that annoys me, right, about this is that the title on the spine is the wrong way around. If you look at Civ, but Neverwinter Nights is backwards. That irks me. Damn it. And it's the same on both sides too. You can't even flip it over. Oh well, not to worry. Okay. All right, last find. This is another interesting story. Not as good a story this time, unfortunately, but an interesting one. Another one of my absolute favorite games. In fact, looking at the stack here, it's probably my favorite game of everything that I've managed to acquire this week. And not only that, I'd have to really sit down and think about it. It would be in my top 20 games of all time, I think. I was obsessed. It went beyond, enjoying and loving this game into the realms of obsession with this one. And it's a strange one to get obsessed with, but get obsessed I did. And that was Rome Total War. So I'd never played a Total War game before I played Rome. I didn't play Shogun or Medieval, I think was the one before this. So Rome was my first foray into the Total War genre. Again, coming from the RTS genre across into Total War. And I think what I loved about Rome was two things. Number one, the way it blended elements of this civilization with elements of this RTS, right? The way it merged those two things together I'd never seen before, and I thought was pretty incredible. The second thing that I got obsessed with this about was the educational value of it. I learned so much from playing this game. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. I just fell down this like Rome rabbit hole, this Roman Empire pit, and loved every second of it. So I thought that was really, really cool. It's got a little open cover. You've probably seen that on the overlay in more detail already. Now, this is not a terribly difficult game to find. This box, the boxed version, is very hard to find, or I found it very, very hard to find. And I knew that's the one I wanted because that's the one I owned, because I very clearly remember this, right? But interesting story when this is another eBay listing. This is almost like the polar opposite to this one, right? I stumbled across the only listing on eBay that I could find that had like a box, right? Like the actual boxed version of the game. And again, the only photo was this, just the front of the box. I think it also had the back of the box. It was just those two photos. And so once again, I was like, no details in the description, no nothing. I was like, message the seller. Hey, is this complete in box? Does it have the manual? Does it have the map? Does it have all the discs and the jewel case, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it's got all those things. Okay, great. Buy. This was $7, okay? $7. And I was like the editions of the game that did not have the box, that were just the jewel case, which I'll take out and show you in a second, were selling for more than that. So I thought I'd just stumbled across an absolute bargain here. And I did, right, to be fair. It showed up, right, on that rainy afternoon. Opened it up. If I can get it all out here. Here it is. Showed up on the rainy afternoon. And what was in the box? This. This jewel case, this map, quite tattered, and this, a PC Gamer Rome Total War demo disc, which is that's a fun, cool little relic to have. Sure, why not? Well, that was all. And I was like, no manual, not a complete in-box game. So I messaged the seller. I said, hey, there's no manual in this game. You've got it advertised as having a manual. I messaged you and checked if it had a manual. You said yes. It showed up. There's no manual. They were like, didn't answer me for quite a while. And then eventually they said, the piece of paper in the box is the manual. No, it's not the manual. So, enjoy your bad feedback if you're watching. I did say that, by the way. I did say that's a map. That's not the manual. Do you still have the manual? And they just ghosted me and didn't answer. So, enjoy your bad feedback, eBay seller. If you ever stumble across this video, I have since purchased a manual separately that will arrive. Probably, I won't film it or anything, but it's on the way. It costs a couple of bucks. That I'll add to the box, and then it will be a complete in-box copy of Rome Total War, like I thought I'd bought in the first place. But negativity aside, right? I am ecstatic to have found the boxed version of good old Rome. It is an absolute classic. I have not, for whatever reason. I think the reason I haven't kept up with the series, and I did play a couple of the entries after this and very, very much liked them. But I never played Rome 2 when it came out. I think it was a bit rough when it launched, and I haven't really played anything that's come out since. Even though I'm a huge Warhammer fan, I haven't played any of the Warhammer Total Wars. I think I like the historical sort of tilt to these games more so than the fantastical tilt, because like I said, they were an incredible education tool. All of the ones that I did play, I learned heaps and heaps and heaps from playing these games. But I didn't keep up with them. I think because they're such a time sink, right? These are not a quick, simple, easy jump in and jump out game to play. And I think back, obviously in my high school years, or just after, I had a lot more time to spare than I do now or have since. So I've never really jumped back into the Total War franchise, and I'm not sure that I will. But you know, I sunk so many hours into Rome Total War. I had so many campaigns on the go, played through with so many nations. I used to have a wallpaper on my gaming computer that said "Play Rome or Go Home," which back in fucking Oscar Wilde, right? But back in the day, I thought that was very clever. And it was in the Rome font and everything. But yeah, it's just a fucking cracker of a game. It was so good. It is, I'm sure it still is good. The engine hasn't changed game to game all that much, really. So I'm sure if I picked up and had another shot at it, it would be just as I remember it. But so many good memories around this. It was like I said, it's top 20 for me games of all time. It was one I knew when I started this whole journey. Rome Total War was one of the first ones I wrote down on, my short list of games I'd like to try and get on the shelf. So the fact that I've got it now in its box, in really good condition, hopefully at some point very soon with a manual, so it's complete in box, then that will be it'll be worth it. It's certainly fucking worth $7 for me anyway. So yeah, very very happy with that one. And a nice little PC gamer demo disc masquerading as a manual. Oh dear. All right, can I show you this whole thing without breaking anything? Oh god. There it is. Jesus. There's this file. It's been a good week, guys. It's been a killer week. Yeah, I am just like this. There's so many memories in that pile of games that I just showed you. Like years of memories that I have, all in that one load of plastic and cardboard. Yeah, I'm chuffed. I'm just super happy this week. Like that right there is what this is all about. Like this smile is not just for the camera. This is legit staring at this pile, as it is going to be when I find room to put all these on the shelf. I'm gonna have to shelve all these. Jesus Christ, we're gonna need that second shelf for sure. Oh man, yeah. That is amazing. I've had the best week hunting for games this week, and I'm just so happy to be doing this. It's so good. Like this was like when I look at that, I'm like, yeah, this was a good idea. This was a good idea. This is a good thing to be doing. So yeah. All right, let's look at the rundown. Let's see what this week cost us all together. So I didn't put the gifts on the list because Enter the Matrix and the Dragon Ball Z mangas didn't cost me anything. I didn't put Dominic's Simpsons fold-out DVD sleeve on the list. That was $1. But it's not going in the collection, so I kept it aside. But everything else is on here. Let's have a look. We've got Final Fantasy, the movie, for $1. That'll go on the shelf because I've got good memories of that. I really liked it back in the day. Like, fucking mind-blowing back in the day. Epic Mickey was $2. I don't know what I'll do with that yet. V-Rally, $3. Crash Bandicoot 2, $5. Pokemon 2000, $1. Spider-Man 2, $1. Dawn of War for $3. And Ultimate Spider-Man for $1. Are you kidding me? I still can't quite believe that was $1. I think because it didn't have a price sticker on it. When I went up and asked the lady, I was like, it just doesn't have a price sticker on it. And she was like, anything without a price sticker is $1. I was like, happy days. eBay, we got Street Fighter 4 for $5. Kingdom Hearts and Spider-Man, $15 each. My biggest sellouts this week. Civilization 4 for $5. Neverwinter Nights for $6. Rome Total War for $7. I mean, those three right there for those prices, that's so many memories just in those three games for that tiny little amount of money. All up this week, $70 on the nose spent. And I think well spent, honestly. That's, yeah, I think you can see that I'm very, very happy. which is great because that's what this is all about. So that's it for this week. It's going to be hard to top. I mean, I'm watching some stuff on eBay. Like that right there is going to be very, very difficult to supplant, right? In terms of like bumper weeks. I'm watching some stuff on eBay right now that could do it if things pan out, right? And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. We might, depending on how things go, we might be starting to dig our teeth into some real retro stuff coming up soon. But yeah, I don't want to make any promises in case it doesn't shake out. But it's being watched, and I'm very positive about it. But yeah, oh God, what a week. So yeah, here's hoping we keep the train rolling and we don't dip back down into a famine again. And we get another banger week next week. So make sure you stick around for that. I hope you enjoyed going through this little pile of memories with me. I certainly did. Make sure you leave a comment down below if you played any of these games and have wonderful memories of any of these games. Let me know. Let us know. Let everybody know your favorite moments from any of these titles. That if you've played them yourself, I'd love to hear it. So until next week, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and more importantly than that, keep on side scrolling. I'll see you then.